Hi, it's Keith from the Evangelical Free Church, Stony Stratford, and we're continuing our series of short talks in the Gospel of Mark. And today we're looking at chapter 12, verses 28 to 34. Well, various people have been coming up to Jesus in the temple courts to try and test him, to try and catch him out. And the last group to do that were a group called the Sadducees. They didn't believe in the resurrection, and so they ask a rather silly and convoluted question to try and catch him out. But Jesus has really shown them up. You can find out all about that in last week's video. And so a teacher of the law who's present has heard this debating, and he's heard the way he's answered them. We know from Matthew's gospel he was a Pharisee, and the Pharisees did believe in the resurrection. And he's really impressed. And so he asks Jesus, because he considers Jesus has given a wise answer, of all the commandments, which are the most important? Jesus basically answers that there are two. Verse 29. The most important one, answered Jesus, is this: Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your hearts and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. The second is this: love your neighbour as yourself. There are no commandments greater than these. Jesus basically points him to two passages in the Old Testament law. One is Deuteronomy 6, verses 4 and 5, a very precious passage to the Jews. And the other is Leviticus 19, verse 18. Jesus has given a wise answer. After all, how we react to God will govern how we react to others. Get that bit right, the rest will follow. Well, the question is not all it seems, because the reaction that the teacher of the law gives actually shows his motive. Verse 32. Well said, teacher, the man replied. You are right in saying God is one and there is no other but him. To love him with all your heart and with all your understanding and with all your strength, and to love your neighbour as yourself, is more important than all the burnt offerings and sacrifices. Now, there are good things about this answer. He's understood that it's not just about religious ritual. He's understood as a Pharisee that he needs a relationship with God and fellowship with his fellow man that comes out of that. Now, that's good. But the second thing shows us his motive wasn't quite pure. He actually knew this. What he's giving Jesus is a seal of approval. Twice in my life, I've been accredited for ministry. Once was by the FIEC, and the other was by my current church group affiliation that I'm part of, which is the EFCSS. I suppose I could say also I've been accredited by the two churches that took me on as pastor. Now, that in a way is what's going on here. As an ordinary guy, I need some accreditation. But Jesus is the Christ. And actually how he then acts shows that this guy, in a sense, is trying to credit him. His thinking is this: okay, this itinerant speaker, well, there is some good theology out in the sticks after all. He does come up to standard. Well, what Jesus does next is absolutely devastating. Verse 34, when Jesus saw he had answered wisely, he said to him, you are not far from the kingdom of God. That is a bombshell. This guy thought he was testing Jesus, and Jesus then turns around and says, well, you're accrediting me. Oh, that's nice. But actually, it's me who accredits you. Your relationship with me, what you think of me, is what matters. What accredits you for the kingdom of God? Or me? Is it because I'm a pastor? Is it because I know my Bible particularly well? Or I can teach others? No. It's about my and your relationship with Jesus. This guy thought he had all the accreditation in the world, and I dare say, as our teacher of the law, he was very learned. You know, he would have had the top theology degrees today. But it wasn't enough. Jesus says in the end, it's what I think of you and your relationship with me. After all, Jesus said in John 14, verse 6, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Not I'm a way, I'm the way. We need a relationship with Jesus if we are ever going to be accredited by him. Thank you for listening. We've got 2 books we'd love to give. There's the Gospels, if you want to have one. They're out, that's a green one, on the railings at the front. And The Real Jesus. You want a relationship with Jesus? 10-minute read. Pick one up from the front or give me a phone call and I'll get one to you free of charge. Take care.